licensed clinical social worker. I'm a clinical supervisor, a therapist, wife, mom, and I'm the founder and owner of Work Your Faith. Today, we're going to have another mental health mini talk. The goal of Work Your Faith is to reduce the stigma of mental health so people suffering will seek help. We want to provide training, consultation, and guidance to faith-based communities. We all know that we have been going through it for a year or so, especially with COVID and quarantine. So when people are returning to church, you want to have the tools that you need to address your members that may be dealing with some type of mental health, some loss, some grief, any type of trauma. And so Work Your Faith came from the scripture, James 2:17, where it says, thus also faith by itself, if it doesn't have works, is dead. We all know that scripture. But above it, starting at 2:14, it says, what does it profit, brethren, if someone says they have faith but doesn't have works? Can faith save them? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and no one says, and you just say to them, depart in peace and be warmed and filled, but you don't offer them something, what does it profit? And then it says, also faith by itself, if it doesn't have works, is dead. So we want to make sure we're balanced, we have both, and we're doing what we need to do in order to make sure people have help. So today we're going to talk about stress. So when you look at this word art, you see stress, frustration, emotional. You have some emotional tension. You have physical pain. You have stomach problems sleeping. You have chest pains, and it can lead to anxiety. So all of these things are just a visual of what stress looks like and what it can be. So let's go into a little bit more detail about stress. So I like where it said, let's talk about stress, baby. So let's talk about stress. What is it? We're going to talk about how do we handle it and how do we deal with it. But let's first talk about what it is. A lot of times, well, let me just give the definition first. So medically, stress is the body's response to physical, mental, or emotional pressure. So it is a chemical response. So it's not just something that you have to learn to deal with emotionally, but it actually is a chemical response. It chemically changes the body. It raises your blood pressure, your heart rate, blood sugar levels, all of that, so that you can deal with pressure that you may have going on in your life right now. So it helps your body adjust to new situations. So it can be a positive thing, right? If you have something going on. So think about if you're in school or when I was in college and I had to study for a test, that stress helped me stay up, did what I need to do so that I can study for that test. However, the problem comes in is if you are not having that moment to relax. So if you're always at a heightened level of stress, then that's where the problem comes in. You may have problems sleeping. You may have other concerns. So let's look at what the slide says on here. You know, it can cause wear and tear on the body because your body is at a heightened level of stress. So that chemical response is continuing to go into your body, even though you have the stress, the pressure is not really there. Okay. So, it, like I said, it causes increased heart rate, breathing, vision changes. Your body is consistently in this stress response, okay? And it can cause physical problems. We know that stress can cause anxiety. It can lead to anxiety. It can cause emotional problems. But if you look at it, it also can cause physical problems. So aches and pains, chest pains. You can have problems sleeping or consistently being exhausted, headaches, dizziness, high blood pressure. Think about it. How many people do you know, even if it may be yourself, that is dealing with some high blood pressure? I would say let's figure out how to look at our stress response, muscle tensions. It talked about increased blood sugar, so think about diabetes, stomach or digestive problems. It weakens our immune system. So that means if we do get sick, it's harder for us to recover. Okay. So it has a lot of wear and tear on our body, on our physical body. So think about that, how we deal with stress. And one of the ways that, when we think about it, we think about people that in ourselves where we don't handle it well. And we just sweep it under the rug and we pretend like it's not there. And we pretend like we're not stressed and we say everything is fine. But really, our bodies internally know the truth, right? And it is these chemicals that are continuing to flow through our bodies because there is a continual stress response. So sometimes if we're not dealing with it correctly, we can overeat. We can have problems with maybe some form of addictions or dependence, whether that's shopping, drinking, chocolate, Amazon. We can have these negative responses on how we would normally see ourselves dealing with stress. So let's talk about it. What do we do about it? How do we deal with it? So I think about, for me, different world is my time era. I'm aging myself a little bit, but I remember when Whitley said, relax, relate, release. And so we have to learn how to relax. Like I said before, it is a chemical response. So our body is responding chemically. So we have to learn how to shut that chemical response down. So some of the things that we have to do, and I'm preaching to myself as well, is exercise. Are we getting any exercise? Are we walking? Are we, taking a stroll? Are we riding a bike? Are we going running? Are we, getting outside or getting on a treadmill, getting on a bike? Are we getting enough sleep? Are we eating healthy? What are we putting into our bodies? What are we putting into our temples, right? We need to practice gratitude. Gratitude is something that I have an alarm on my phone every day that at 7:00, because I'm already up, that I want to list 3 things that I'm grateful for. So, sometimes I this think about it. I don't always write it down, but I want to think about that reminder makes me think about what are some things that I'm grateful for? What are some things that I am excited about that, whether it's my family, my church family, my job, my work family, what are some things that I am grateful for? So that helps us reduce stress and change our mindset on how we're thinking about our day. I'm grateful for getting up this morning. I'm grateful for my day. And yes, I have stressors. Stressors can be moves, can be job changes, could be shifts in what's happening in your family. It could be shifts in what's happening in your job. It can be, things happen because life happens. But how do we change what we're thinking about when life does happen? Relax. And that was the biggest word on my cloud. Relax. How do you relax? How do you relax your mind and let your conscience be free? How do you relax? How do you enjoy? And relax doesn't always have to be just going away on vacation. That could help. But do you relax and watch something that's not stressful? A program that's not stressful? Do you go for a walk? Do you sit outside? Do you enjoy nature? Do you listen to music that you enjoy, right? The other way to deal with stress is make a list and have a list of priorities. Quite often, sometimes stress comes about because maybe we have 50 things that we have to do. This is going to be a busy week for me. I know that I have 50 things that I have to do, but what is my priority? God, my family, right? My health. Those are my priorities. So make a list and prioritize. If you don't get all 50 things done this week, is there something that you can carry over to next week? Absolutely. Right? Everything doesn't have to be done all at once. Pick the top 5 and work on those top 5. And the next one is also very important. Learn to say no. Maybe you have 50 things to do this week, but you added 25 because you didn't want to say no. No is a complete sentence. Everybody doesn't have to have a reason as to why you can't do what they're asking you to do. Everybody doesn't have to be fit into your schedule. And when you go back up to the word where it says relax, just because you're relaxing doesn't mean that that's not on your schedule. So make relaxing a part of your schedule. One of the things that I do when somebody asks me, what are you doing? Just because I'm relaxing doesn't mean that I have to say yes to whatever you're saying. So instead of me saying, oh, I'm just chilling, watching TV, I'll say, what do you want? What do you need? Right? Because it helps me to be able to say either, yes, I can do something, or no, I cannot. Because relaxing is, you are doing something when you're relaxing. You're healing your body, you're restoring your body, you're lessening that stress response. And so you're lessening the amount of wear and tear that you're putting on your body. So definitely put relaxation on your calendar, make that a part of your list and priority, and say no if you're relaxing, because just because you're relaxing doesn't mean that you have, you can do whatever that person is asking you to do. So you have 50 things on your list. Hopefully 10 of those things aren't things that you should have said no to, but just, start saying no and dealing with the feeling that you have afterwards. And so the last one is the one that we, always do when we do these mini mental health talks, is meditating on the word. The word is a place where you can go to find things that you can meditate on. Meditation is constantly thinking about something, taking deep breaths and repeating these scriptures, right? Be anxious for nothing, but in everything in prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. We talked about that, right? Gratitude. Let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, relaxation, peace, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds through Jesus Christ. Keep that word in your spirit as you're relaxing, as you're practicing gratitude, as you're making your list and you're prioritizing, as you're exercising. If you're going for a walk, listen to the word. As you're sleeping, as you're eating healthy, make that request known to God, and everything with prayer and supplication and thanksgiving. Be grateful, okay? The other one, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? Not the things that you should have said no to, although you can do those through Christ. But keep in mind that you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. So that strengthening may be learning to say no. I can say no through Christ. He strengthens me to say no. I can exercise. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I can get enough sleep through Christ because he strengthens me. I can eat healthy and not reach for that chocolate or that alcohol as I'm dealing with stress, right? I can do all things. I can practice gratitude through Christ. I can relax through Christ. I can make a list and prioritize through Christ. I can learn how to say no through Christ. I can meditate on the word through Christ. So as we're talking about stress and we're learning to deal with stress, just keep in mind that stress, although for short periods of time, is necessary for our bodies, right? It is not good to be in a constant chronic stress situation where your body is constantly responding to a situation. So learn to deal with stress. Talk to somebody if you need to. Sometimes therapy is necessary and needed. Have that support of your friends, your family, whatever you need, and knowing that you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you, and being grateful and thankful for everything that you have at this moment. So thank you for joining us, this mini mental health talk on how to deal with and respond to stress. So hopefully you have a stress-free day.